Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to bonus weather video number 1 for this week, and I've entitled this What We Can Do on Most Occasions and What We Can't Do. Some brutal honesty coming up here in terms of where the science of meteorology is with respect to operational forecasting. So, excuse me, some of this I showed you in the daily weather update, but it pertains to the topic, so I wanted to show it to you again. This is the European Ensemble temperature anomaly forecast for tomorrow, and you can see the well above normal temperatures from the mid-Atlantic through the southeast down to the Gulf Coast, the southern plains, and up into the central and southern Rockies. And then this huge change to colder weather on Wednesday. You can see the below normal temperatures wedging down east of the Appalachian Mountains there. And now we jump on ahead to Monday, February 10th, excuse me, and you'll notice that the cold air covers a good bit more of the United States than it does right now, okay? And I'll go back and review that in just a second. Then on Wednesday, February 12th, you can see a very clear cold air damming signature there, and then it warms up a little bit across the southeast by the 15th, only to see the cold air come back on Monday, February 17th. So if we compare what it looks like tomorrow, okay, and I basically outlined the area of where the below normal temperatures are, and then compare that to the way it looks on the 17th of February, you can see a much bigger part of the country is covered with that. Now, why am I confident about this when we're talking about something that is, what, 14 days away, right? Okay. Well, one of the things that the models do quite well, at least most of the time, is forecast the large-scale upper-level flow. And the surface weather map is just a reflection of what's going on up there because the forces up there, by and large, are stronger than they are here at the surface. So you can sort of look at that as being the driver, okay, and then the passenger is the surface weather, okay? It's a reflection of what's going on up there. And so we deal with different scales in meteorology. There's the global scale, there's the synoptic scale, which would be the scale that storms operate on, maybe covering 10, 15 states at a time. Then you have the mesoscale, where you start to get down to thunderstorms and tornadoes and downbursts, and then the microscale, where you're talking about individual soil types and how much energy it's going to absorb or reflect or whatever. And so these are all different scales, and on the large scales, the models do a pretty good job going out in time, okay? So we've got that covered. We're pretty confident that once we get to next Monday, that much more of the country is going to be colder than it is right now. Okay, so now with that cold air advancing slowly eastward, one would think that with it doing battle with the warm air that's currently here, that maybe the precipitation chances would be going up in the southeastern part of the country by the time we get to next week. Well, this is tomorrow, and clearly there's not a whole lot going on here, okay? Same thing on Wednesday, but then when that cold air begins to advance toward the eastern part of the country on February 10th, looky here, we start to have a green area indicating more in the way of precipitation, and then by the 12th, it really gets into high gear, okay? And by the time we get to the 15th, not quite as impressive, but still significant. And then as we head toward the 17th, 2 weeks from now, maybe that entire pattern begins to shift off to the north and east, but we're still in those green shaded areas. And when I first looked at this yesterday, I was thinking to myself, okay, the battle zone between the cold air and the warm air is going to be getting closer to us as we head toward the early part of next week. So wouldn't it make sense that we would have better chances for precipitation? And then when I looked at the 24-hour precipitation, bingo, there it was, okay? But now you're thinking to yourself, getting colder, better chances for precipitation. Maybe does that mean some white stuff, okay? Well, let's take a look at the European Ensemble forecast for the next 15 days, okay? Actually, I believe it's 16 days. It goes out to Tuesday, 15 days, February 18th, okay? Now, this is what we call a box and whisker plot, okay? Where the 25th to the 75th percentile, remember sort of the middle of the bell curve, is characterized by the gray colors here. And then this blue bar, or whisker if you will, goes up to the 95th percentile, okay? And that means that 95% of the ensemble members have snowfall amounts less than that, okay? Only 5% have it greater than that. Now, let's go the other direction. that gray bar, which indicates the 25th to the 75th percentile, touches 0, okay? Which means that at least 25% of the ensemble members have nothing, okay? And it probably is even more than that, okay? And then you have the ensemble mean with these green little dots here, okay? And that gets up to a little bit above 2 inches, okay? But that's a cumulative total among all 51 ensemble members, and all the ensemble members are picking up on different systems at different times with different intensities, so you can't average any one given day and say that, oh, that's what the ensemble mean is saying, how much it's going to snow that day. That's not what it means at all, okay? So here's the bottom line. If you see somebody showing you a forecast that has snow or ice or both over North Carolina that is more than 7 days out, they do not understand the principle of scales in meteorology, okay? We can, with a fair amount of confidence, predict that next week is going to be colder than this week on average, okay? And since the battle zone between the warm air and the cold air will be closer to us, there are better chances for precipitation. Those two things we have a fairly high amount of confidence in. But the devil is always in the details, and whether or not we get rain or ice or snow or nothing, if the cold air maybe moves far enough offshore so it takes the boundary way out of the picture, those are all things that operate on smaller scales and cannot be determined this far out into the future, okay? So the large scale, we have a fair amount of confidence in, but once you start getting down to the synoptic scale and especially the mesoscale, then that kind of stuff beyond 7 days is a pure crapshoot. And anybody that tells you otherwise does not have a fundamental understanding of the different scales that we use in the science of meteorology. All right, that's it for now, folks. I hope you found that interesting. That is bonus weather video number 1 for this week. Number 2 will be coming up on Wednesday, and of course, the next daily update coming up tomorrow. You all take care, folks. Have a great rest of your Monday evening, the little bit that's left, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you later.